Saint Joseph, Worker of Mercy by Sarah Levesque. Saint Joseph is a very important man in the Bible, but unlike most of the important figures found there, Saint Joseph does not speak a single word. That's not to say he was mute. It is doubtful that he could have accomplished the things he did without being able to speak, given the time and culture, but not a single word of his has been recorded. Yet we still know a good deal about him from the few verses that talk about him. He was a righteous man, Matthew chapter 1, verse 19, a humble man who trusted God, Matthew chapter 1, verse 24, chapter 2, verses 13 and 14 and 20. He was devout and willing to go any length to protect his family, Matthew chapter 2, verses 14 and 21. Considering his incredibly important role as the earthly father of Jesus, there is no doubt in my mind that Joseph was a hard worker. He provided for Mary and Jesus through his work as a carpenter, Matthew 13:55, a trade that takes strength and skill. How do these facts about Joseph fit into an issue about the corporal works of mercy? Simple. In providing for his family, Joseph observed 5 of the 7 works. The only 2 of the 7 corporal works of mercy we don't have record of him doing are burying the dead and visiting the imprisoned. This might seem a bit of a stretch to some, so let's walk through them. Through Joseph's work, the Holy Family had food, drink, shelter, and clothing. He first welcomed into his home the Holy Infant who was not his own flesh and blood, and later welcomed shepherds and magi alike. He ministered to Mary in her pregnancy and after Jesus' birth. Not an illness, of course, but it still demonstrates Joseph's love. I would expect that Joseph also buried the dead when his parents died, though there is no record of this. Even before all this, Joseph was shown to be a merciful man. Consider things from his view. One day his fiancée goes off to visit her cousin. Okay, all fine, well and good. She stays for 3 months, then comes back. That might be an absence of closer to 4 months, depending on how long the journey took. And when she comes back, she's pregnant. The Bible doesn't tell us whether Mary managed to tell him before a rumor got around, but obviously Joseph knew it wasn't his child. He must have felt surprised, angry, betrayed, perhaps confused, for the Mary he knew would not have given herself to someone who was not her husband. According to Jewish law, the just thing would have been to stone her. But despite all the feelings that must have welled up in him, Joseph was unwilling to do that, and instead made up his mind to show mercy and divorce her quietly. Matthew chapter 1, verse 19. Perhaps he planned to send her back to her cousin's house, where presumably the child's father would be. But we don't know exactly what was in his mind, for that was when the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream to tell him what happened, and what his part was to be in the future of Mary and her child. The Gospel tells us, when Joseph woke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife. Matthew chapter 1, verse 24. May we all be as merciful as Joseph, and as quick to respond to the will of the Lord.